Words are very powerful, and they can either ruin an interaction or they can make an interaction with the woman better. Everything comes down to what you say. For example, how many women that you've slept with. This is a big no-no. We do not tell women how many women we've been with. It doesn't matter if you've been with 100 to 1,000 or if you're a virgin. We don't tell a woman the times that you have slept with the girl. Why? If you tell a woman this, then you never know how she's going to judge you. So if you haven't been with a lot of women, she may judge you for that and go, oh, well, this guy is a newbie and, maybe he should be with more women before he's with me. Or maybe you've slept with over 100, 200 women before, and then you tell her. And of course, it's going to be more attractive for a woman to know that you've been with other women, but maybe she thinks that you are a slutty guy, or you're some sort of Chad that sleeps around with a lot of women. And then she just gets turned off and goes, you know what? I just probably shouldn't be with that guy. Either way, there's no information about how many women you've slept with that is going to be a positive for a woman, or you're just going to be taking a big gamble. So better to keep that to yourself. Next, do not tell a woman how much money you have. Don't tell her how much you have in your bank account or your savings account or how much debt that you may be in. This is your own personal business. And this is not something that should even really come up until you are married to a woman. That's when you can start sharing more personal stuff about your finances. But before that, she doesn't need to know. And same idea here, she doesn't need to know whether you are broke or whether you are super rich. Both ends of the spectrum are going to look bad. Now, what do I mean? Well, if you're broke, she's not going to be attracted to that. And if you have a lot of money, okay, that doesn't look bad, but it could turn into an opportunity for her to be a gold digger. Or you might just never know if she's with you for your money or not. If you're a wealthy person, I say it's better to show than tell. Wear your nice watch, drive your nice car. But as much as money is very attractive to women, we don't want them to be with us for the wrong reasons. Personal finances to yourself. Next, stories about your ex. And this is a big one because I know that you've done this before. In fact, I'm guilty of this too. Those moments where we just want to share some stories about our past relationships because it's a funny story, or you're trying to complain about your ex and complain about a dating situation that happened with a woman. None of these stories are going to help. They might do the opposite. Again, it's all a gamble here. That's kind of the theme of some of these secrets. It's a gamble of what may happen if you tell her this. So if you start talking about your ex and why you broke up, or maybe you start telling her about multiple exes, she might think, I wonder if this guy is the problem. Or maybe she finds out that you're a guy who cheated on a girl and you told her that. That's obviously not going to look good. So it gets really complicated when we start talking about our past and what we've done before. It just might end up turning her off. Also, if we talk about this stuff in the beginning of a dating scenario where you're on 1 to 2 to 3 dates and you're talking to her about your ex and complaining about that, it's just not a turn on. Those conversations don't add anything to getting to know each other. Of course, if you're divorced, this is a different story. That's something that you might bring up. But even that, I wouldn't bring up for at least a few dates. That's information that's not important quite yet. Next, I'm glad you're still with me here because each one of these gets more and more important. Skeletons in your closet. You know, some of those deeper traumatic things that have happened in your childhood or in your past, those real dark secrets about you and your family, or things that have happened that have just been terrible. These are not things that we want to tell the woman that we're with. She doesn't need to know those things. That stuff is not of importance 99% of the time. Keep those to yourself. Keep those to you and your therapist. You can get vulnerable and complain all you want to the people that can help you, but I wouldn't use her as a sounding board to your emotional issues, to your problems, to the reason why you are the way you are because of the way your mom or dad treated you or the abuse you've had in the past. That stuff does not add to the scenario. And I wish it could. I wish that life was a bunch of fairy tales and sweet and we can say these vulnerable things to the women that we like, but unfortunately, women will get turned off by this, especially if you do a lot of it. This doesn't mean you have to lie, but it's things that you keep to yourself. Next one, massive failures that didn't contribute to your growth. So we all have stories of times that we screwed up or failed, more vulnerable stuff that we're talking about here. And when you start telling stories about how you failed, and it wasn't like an interesting story, like I have a story that I tell sometimes where I created before this a YouTube channel that completely failed, but it's okay to talk about something like that because then that led to a success where then I created another YouTube channel, and that's an interesting story. But I also have stories that don't make me look so good, like they're absolute failures where I just did something wrong or I did something unethical. That is a secret that you can keep to yourself. Maybe you tell a friend of yours if you really want, but it's not for the girl that you're dating. You just have to be careful of being too overly vulnerable, because while it might be an interesting story or something that might spike an emotion while you're with her, it's not going to paint you in a good light. And you honestly want to be painted in that positive light. So instead of turning them off, what you want to do is you want to turn them on. And there is another secret, not this kind of secret, but a different kind of secret, the kind of secret that the jerk guy or the Chad uses that actually get a woman interested in him. I want to teach you how to do that. You can check out a YouTube video that I put out that talks about the secret that jerks use to attract women. Watch that so you can learn more about how to build attraction instead of turning them off. And then if you need more help beyond that, you can always come over here and get your own personal one-on-one coach in the TripAdvice Accelerator coaching program, where we can help you with online dating, meeting women in person, and make sure that you are a guy who is doing the right things when you're talking to a woman and not ultimately turning her off. Check out that link in the description down below.